108-118 victory over the Portland Trailblazers yesterday. I understand it's regular season, it's early March, the whole thing. Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, two players that are premier role players in the NBA, two guys who have consistently really gotten better throughout their tenure there. Peyton Pritchard off the bench, mind you. They had 41 points. That was Derek White. And Peyton Pritchard had 43 points. And this is without Jayson Tatum playing. Jaylen Brown played. He didn't play that great of a game. The Celtics, there was the first duo in Celtics history to have 40 points apiece.
Crazy.
40-plus points apiece. So that means Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum have never done that. It means Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce have never done that. It means Larry Bird, McHale, Dennis Johnson never did that. And it means Cousy and Russell never did that.
Right.
So there is a large history that has, I guess, now been captured by Peyton Pritchard and Derek White. And my one takeaway from that is I think it reinforces the idea that I'm still on, is that team is coasting. They are 44-18, and on any given night, they have 5 or 6 different guys, 5 probably, that could beat you. And for me, if I'm sitting here, they just beat the Nuggets and the Trailblazers this month so far. They have a fairly easy schedule the rest of the way. This team, in my opinion, is still, number one, the favorite and the 1A of the NBA.
I think they definitely, and they're the champions, and as a 2 seed in the Eastern Conference, they're probably not afraid to go play on the road. They've done it before. They proved last year that they could win on the road. I will fight back a little bit and say I think the Cavs are deeper than maybe you give them credit for. I know you don't like Ty Jerome and DeAndre Hunter and Dean Wade and company.
Good players. It doesn't stack up to the Celtics. I understand.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think Max Strus is a solid player, but Colin, let's not get things twisted. How the hell did this happen? My initial reaction to seeing this is I'd be dumbfounded if these guys scored 30 points, let alone 40. And to be the first duo and arguably the most rich of history team in the NBA's history in the Boston Celtics. You'd probably say the Celtics and the Lakers are the 2 teams that are littered with tradition, probably the most out of any teams in the NBA. For the caliber of team that the Celtics are in their history, for these 2 guys to be the first 2 players to do this, number one is crazy. And number 2, Derek White had 9 3-pointers last night. Like, I didn't know he had that in his bag. No, he shot 17 of them. And I understand he played for Team USA last year, and he's a solid ball player, and maybe I'm not giving him the credit he deserves.
They combined for 19 3-pointers, which is the most by a pair of teammates in a game ever.
43 minutes.
That's more than Clay and Steph. That's more than any of that.
Pritchard didn't start.
This is a historic performance.
And then he played 43 minutes. He did. Pritchard had 43 off the bench. Now, he played 43 minutes. It's do the math. It's a point a minute. I understand. But, my God, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White, I did not have that on my bingo card last night. And if those guys, Colin, step up to this level in the playoffs, now I think we got to pump the brakes a little bit too, is the Blazers, all right? The Blazers aren't necessarily world beaters this year. But to do this,
the capability of doing it.
Exactly. And the point I'm trying to make, the long-winded point I'm trying to make is if these guys show up in any capacity in the playoffs like this, I don't think anyone's going to beat them. Especially with Tatum and Brown playing well, I don't think anyone's going to beat them.
Now,
no Porzingis either, Colin.
You mentioned all the 3-pointers that they're making. Derek White, Jayson Tatum, and Peyton Pritchard this season have 210, 206, and 203 3-pointers made apiece.
Yeah.
That is the 3rd trio in NBA history to record 200-plus 3-point made each in the same season. Joining a Houston team with Harden, Eric Gordon, and Ryan Anderson, believe it or not, and then Golden State with Thompson, Jordan Poole, and Steph Curry.
Do you like that? Do you like how the Celtics play? I kind of don't. I don't either. I kind of don't.
They've mastered it. That's the thing.
They have. I mean, they won a championship off of it.
It's like the Warriors. It's like the Warriors were a little bit more entertaining.
Like the
Warriors are a little bit more entertaining, a little bit more high-flying.
It came fluidly. Like the Warriors were setting back screens. They were getting guys open. This is just...
They've mastered the ability to get the open 3. And whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing in terms of play style or it's ugly to watch, that's fine. But I think a lot of other teams are trying to figure out how to get that open 3 super consistently. And the Celtics have a blueprint at guys who could beat people off the dribble, guys who could spot up and shoot, guys who could also create for themselves when need be. It's not the greatest thing to watch in the world, but there's one thing about it is it's definitely the most dangerous and talented team in the NBA at the moment, I would say today.
Definitely. And the favorites to win the championship, it breaks my heart saying that as a Cavalier
I know,
fan.
yeah, it's fun
It
to
does.
kind of talk about the guys who can maybe surprise them, and maybe there are teams
Yeah.
that could surprise. Maybe Cleveland does surprise
I think
them
their
and
size-
steal a game on the road. Maybe.
The thing with the Cavs is their size. In playoffs of years past, Colin, Jarrett Allen and Evan Mobley did the Cavaliers in. They didn't play well enough in order to win these games. They're playing well enough this year. Evan Mobley was an all-star. So pending on that duo, when Evan Mobley shows up, the Cavs are a different team. But you got Brown and Tatum. I think when we look back in NBA history, that's going to be a duo that you're going to remember in this current time of the NBA with Brown and Tatum.
888-760-3776. I think the Celtics are the clear 1A, the favorite in the NBA. Do you have another favorite in mind that is going to be the top-tier contender? Is it going to be the Lakers, the Thunder? What is yours? 888-760-3776, the number to get into the program on Russo and Rizzo.
Are the two best teams in the Eastern Conference? Is this the first time
if they
in
were
a
going
long time?
7-game series right now, Cavs-Lakers, you're taking the Cavs?
I think so. Just because they match the matchups. I'm looking at the match. Now, no one's guarding LeBron. Let's make that clear.
And nobody's guarding Luka.
But I think the Cavs would be able to – I think Garland and Mitchell would be able to beat any of those guys off of the ball, maybe excluding that Vanderbilt kid. He's pretty good on defense. But the bigs with Mobley and Allen, believe it or not, I think the Cavs do match up well. I really do. I think they do match up well with the Lakers.
Now, it's too early to hypothesize something like that. The way if I had to put money down, if I had to sacrifice something that on whether the Celtics or whether the Cavaliers or the Lakers would win a playoff series tomorrow, I would have to go with the Lakers. Just off of, I think, the fact that they have two of the top 6, 7 players in the NBA. We haven't even talked about LeBron yet, who was the first player ever to get 50,000 points combined, playoffs and regular season in his career. I have a hard time choosing against that.
And I sent us a graphic in our Russo and Rizzo group chat, Colin. LeBron's stats are like better this year than his MVP season back when he was with the Miami Heat. So LeBron is doing
offensive
LeBron
output
things.
is inflated because
For sure.
if you look everywhere
No
else
arguments.
in the NBA, everything else is inflated too. There's more guys averaging 30, but I understand the point.
No arguments there. At his age, having those numbers.
The real comparison is when J.J. Redick was in college as a recruit. LeBron was averaging like 27, 7, and 7.
Right.
And then when J.J. Redick was a rookie in the NBA, 27, 7, and 7. When J.J. Redick was a 15-year NBA vet, LeBron was averaging like 28, 8, and 9. And then all of a sudden, when J.J. Redick is a podcaster and an ESPN analyst, LeBron is averaging 27 and whatever. Now when he's a coach, he's averaging 28, 9, and 9.
Have you when this trade happened, I was all over it. I said the Lakers will probably be the favorite out of the Western Conference. You're there. You're there now? Or is it still the Nuggets? Because you're very high on the Nuggets.
I think them and the Nuggets. The Nuggets have their number. So off of that, if I had to choose a favorite out of the Western Conference comparatively, if I had to choose one today, I'd probably go momentum. It's hard to gauge now because the Warriors, if they were playing today, I would choose the Lakers because of the momentum. But if it was 2.5 months from now, I'd probably go Denver.
If we're going to play the game of matchups, no one's guarding the Joker.
They had Anthony Davis there last year, and it didn't work.
The last 2 years. So Colin, the last 2 years.
So it depends. I mean, they're changing it up at the very least. And that's what the Buss family said when they asked about the trade is like, listen, were we going to run it back? This is the exact same team as last year.
It was.
And it is a team that couldn't
and
get
I
through
agree.
to Denver,
and I know
change it up.
I know a lot of people this morning disagreed with what Jeannie said. It's a no-brainer to get rid of Anthony Davis for Luka.
Are we selling the Thunder short?
I like the Thunder. They're my number 2 team. They went last year and lost.
You have them over Denver.
I do. They went last year and lost. And I'm bigger on SGA than a lot of other people are. I know he still has to prove it probably in bigger moments. But I think SGA is darn near the MVP. Now, you could give the MVP. With the Joker and the MVP, Colin, it's like LeBron back in the day. You could give it to him every year.
Yeah,
but
I agree with the voter fatigue.
SGA will win the MVP.
Especially how he's played the last 2-3 weeks.
SGA is going to win the MVP, and I like Sam Presti a lot. I think that team is going to make some serious noise in the Western Conference. I can't promise you they're going to be able to beat a LeBron James
be a very
and Luka.
Tricky spot. Yeah, going to LA to beat two of those players that are both great postseason players.
If I could circle back to your question you asked me earlier of who's winning, the Cavs or the Lakers, it comes down to how well Luka and LeBron are going to mesh in the playoffs. How well those two are going to be able to share the ball in pressure situations. I think, Colin.
He was good about giving it to Kyrie.
He was.
So keep that in mind.
He was. And when this